Welcome to the channel. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. Today's review will be on the Scubamaster MM300 SBDX001 by Proxima. Take this opportunity to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Remember to also check the description where you will find the link to this watch and where it can be purchased. Thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you enjoy the review. Welcome to the channel. Thank you everybody for tuning in today. Today's review, as mentioned in the video title, is going to be about the Proxima Scubamaster SBDX001, or better recognized as a homage to the Seiko MM300. Now, for those of you that do follow my channel, you know I'm a big fan of Proxima, and I'm a very big fan of the MM300 homage that they do. It is one of the best MM300 homages out there. So in front of me, I do have the black version that you get off the SBDX001 from the Proxima store on AliExpress. This is my personal watch. Now, if you have seen this watch before in my previous reviews, it looked a bit different because it had this blue, dark blue sapphire bezel insert. And when I made my recent purchase, I did ask Proxima if they could send me out the flat black ceramic one, and which they did kindly enough. They threw it in part of the deal and they sent this over to me, so then I went ahead and changed it. More on that will be on my secondary channel. If you don't know about it, it's called Just for the Modders, where I cover videos just purely on modding watches, and that will include original watches like Seiko's and also homage watches. Jump over to the channel, check it out, subscribe over there as well, please. So as I was saying, this was replaced and I do like it a lot better than the actual curved bezel insert. This is closer to obviously the genuine article. But the review today is going to be on the gilt version. Proxima will send your watch out to you in this black hardened plastic case. You get a Proxima card with dates and names. Now, there is one thing that does sort of distinguish Proxima from most of the suppliers on AliExpress. Proxima have done this when I first bought this nearly a year ago, and they've done it with the gilt Proxima. I'll try and put a picture up. What Proxima do, they will send you a picture. They'll attach it to your invoice, and they'll also send you a picture through communication of them testing your watch. They can also send you pictures while it's being put together by the technician, but they'll definitely show you a picture of your watch on a timograph machine. Now, I think for the most part, it's just satisfaction to the customer. Personally, my personal opinion on timegraphs and why I don't feature them on this channel, it will give you no indication of how the watch will perform. The fact that my watch is going to perform at 4 seconds plus or minus a day, it's not going to give you an indication how your watch is going to perform. A timograph is probably better for those people who refurb watches or rebuild watches, etc., and you're more on the modding side of it. That being said, it's just a nice addition from Proxima. It also shows that level of QC control that consumers want, and to date I've bought maybe 4 or 5 Proxima watches. It's a small number, but no defects at the moment. Let's get into the dimensions and specifications that you are going to be getting when you order one of these. Specifications and dimensions, spec wise, it's nothing different to be honest from a lot of AliExpress brands out there. So this will give you a ceramic bezel insert. You'll get a double dome sapphire crystal 316L stainless steel construction. You also get a screw down crown and a water rating of 300 meters. And of course, this runs the NH35 movement. The dimensions are as follows. The watch case is 44 mil in diameter, and you've got a thickness of 16.5 mil, so reasonably thick, and a lug to lug of 50 millimeters. Now, the first thing that does immediately stand out when you take this watch out of the box is just that beautiful dial and bezel combination, just that whole shine you get. What really does set this dial off is the combination of all the little features that you can't instantly see, but you have to go in quite close to get a glimpse at. But combined, they give this awesome visual effect when you first take it out of the box. So let's start off and let's see what this dial consists of. So you have a matte black dial, and this being the gilt version, you've got a combination of gilt and this black color combo, which is very sought after, and it does look quite pleasant. Every time you've seen a black and gold watch, any watches using that sort of combination, it does stand out and it does absolutely suit the piece. So you'll notice that you've got the printing, which is in gilt as well. So you got the Proxima logo at the 12 o'clock, very clearly printed and very well centered. And then you've got at the 6 p.m, you've got Scubamaster Professional 300 meters. Again, applied in, printed in gilt and printed quite well. And then you've also got this printing on the 3 o'clock date window, where you've got a gilt frame. Again, very well printed, nice, clean and crisp lines. You'll also see that chapter ring that does surround the watch face, and that chapter ring is worth noting. It's actually sitting on the dial and not aligned around the rehaut like most watches. And then you've got applied markers all around the watch face. So you've got the dual baton style index at the 12 o'clock, the rectangular single baton index at the 6 p.m, and again at the 9 p.m. And you've got these circular hour markers that surround the rest. Now you'll notice the apply markers do have this gold polished frame around in each and every one, and small details like this just add to the overall beauty of this dial. Let's take a closer look at the handset construction. I tend to look quite closely at these amongst the various watches that I have reviewed, and it just shows that extra level of detail. Now you can see on camera, just look at the finishing on those hands. You've got chamfered edges polished as well on either side. Then you've got this center which has been brushed, and that gilt, and I think it's the right color of gilt as well. It's not too light, it isn't too dark. I think if you go a little bit too gold, it can look just tacky. And then you've got that traffic hand style second hand. And you can also see when it comes to the markers, look how wide they are. Look at the amount of lume that is going to be applied on this dial. The date wheel is correctly centered as well. It's worth mentioning, because I've noticed on the one I had, the date wheel isn't fully centered within the square. Check out that lume shot. You've got C3 Super Luminova lume that's been applied to all the hour markers and the hands and that second hand. You've also got that illuminated triangular pip on the ceramic bezel insert. The longevity of this lume is proven. It's going to last quite a long time, and it is really bright and very clear to see. An added little visual effect is due to the sapphire crystal. Look at that refraction, and you can see almost a double lume effect when it comes to the dial, and you can see around these edges. Moving on to the bezel insert. Now this watch does come with a whole host of bezel insert options. It's a flat black ceramic with gilt debossed markers. So I don't know if you can tell here, it is actually debossed. Very well done. And you do have a marker at the 12 o'clock which is illuminated. Now I will say about this, the stamping or the debossing isn't crisp, it's not sharp, and what you'll see here when you do pay attention and you look a lot closer to the gilt here, it isn't crisp and clear, but it does look slightly textured. Now I don't know, it does seem to fit with the watch quite well, so therefore I don't have any issue with that at all. The bezel itself is stainless steel, coin edge style, but with that top lip here. Usually coin edges extend all the way to the top and they flatten out, and you will find this style of bracelet, also style of bezel insert on the Marine Master. Now it's a 120 unidirectional clicking bezel. The clicks are really smooth, no backplay, and the alignment is pretty good as well. Proxima give you way too many bezel insert options, and what doesn't help is they're not numbered correctly or referenced, and the pictures are really quite poor and pixelated, so it makes it a task in itself just finding the combination that meets. It just needs to be clear, and it needs to be clear to the consumer what they're actually purchasing. Let's have a look at the sapphire crystal used. This is a double dome sapphire crystal, so you've got a dome underneath the crystal and on top, so it limits that distortion that you get on a single dome. So what you also get is this gorgeous depth to the dial when you look straight at it. And you can also notice there is a chamfered edge, and you can catch this refraction here, and you can see almost a mirror image of the hour markers. Now, I can already preempt what a lot of people are going to say, that there is a shed load of blue AR coating. Now, you know, in the beginning when these watches came out with this AR coating, yes, it was fantastic. A lot of people loved it. From an enthusiast point of view, the blue AR coating, I know there's a lot of people that don't like it, and I think there is too much of it. And to be honest, we are to blame. We can only blame ourselves. You know, the China industry regarding watches, it caters to the mass market. Now, obviously, they have identified people love blue AR coated crystals. So again, for the enthusiasts amongst us that don't like this and prefer AR coating, it's something which I'd say we are the minority in this. You know, where they're going to cater to what the mass market wants, especially going back to when the Seiko SKX modding is so popular. Everybody goes for the blue AR coating. I do believe it should be a lot more subtle than this, and I would prefer the clear coating. However, yes, it can get in the way, as you can see here. But for the most part, you know, indoors, away from direct sunlight, I've got lighting within this place where I'm doing my recordings, and you can catch just loads of glare, and that makes it quite difficult to see the dial. But indoors, without all this extra lighting, it's not a problem. So you do get a little glimpse of AR now and then. Fit and finish, I love to see how they've made these crystals to fit, and you can see almost flush, very good fit and finish. Moving on to the case, there is a lot going on the case. It is one of the nicer cases that you will hold that come out of or from AliExpress, and there's no doubt about that. A lot of weight, there is a lot of weight on it, and that's because this case is a monoblock case, so it is formed from a full block of stainless steel. So just on that side, that manufacturing side of it, exceptional quality from Proxima, or the factory that in Proxima commissioned. What you'll see, my favorite things about this case, how the case is multifaceted and with different brushing available, just to create that great dimensions to the case, and all those textures that you are going to see. So on the top A face, you've got this linear style, very, very fine brushing. As you move it over on the first little facet of this case, you've got this highly polished edge here, this beveled edge, and then you've got a straight edge which is just brushed. Again, very fine brushing, and that line again along the case is very smooth and does follow the curvature of the case really well, and then it flicks back over to polished, and that polishing continues through to the back of the case, where you've got this 3D now logo of a dolphin. Now, comparing that to the first version that they had on the Proxima, you know, just a little bit of a cartoon drawn on, not really engraved, too heavy. I wasn't a fan of that, but I mean, it's something which is going to be, you're never going to see it unless you take the watch off and, you know, you just got it in your hand. But that dolphin, great change. The dolphin looks okay as well, actually. There is no issues with that at all. The crown, this crown is a 350 crown, so it's just sitting just before the 4 p.m. location. Very nice crown, good grip on the crown as well. It tucks itself nicely within the case. The smoothness of it, perfectly fine. It's got quite a strong spring, so when it does pull out, you definitely know it's popping. You can definitely feel it pop out. No issues on the hand winding and the hacking. Screws back in without an issue. Let's take a look at the bracelet. Now this one here, I took off my bracelet from my black Proxima, and I applied it on here because I wanted to wear it around for a few days, a few weeks, and see how I got on with it. And the bracelet itself is really, really well made, and at least visually it looks quite close, if not identical, to the original article by Seiko in terms of how the links come across. Now, you've got brush links, but you also have these lips on either side of the center link, which you get a polished edge. Now the links themselves, it's just a single piece link, although it looks like there's 3 different sections, and they are quite long. That's why I noticed. Look at the length of that link. Usually you find them just smaller than that, and I do wish they were slightly smaller. It just allows better adjustment and better wearability, in my opinion anyway. But the bracelet itself, very comfortable, and it is one of the rarer bracelets that you will find coming out from AliExpress, because there is literally zero edginess to it. It's had that refinement that I'll be talking about. Now, if you do own original Seikos, like those budget divers, the 200-meter turtles, samurais, whatever, and you compare that to even the top quality bracelet, let's just say for San Martin, there is a definite edginess that's present, but this is very, very smooth. Now, one thing on the clasp, whoever knows about Proxima knows this, that the clasp, they give you those awful stamped clasps. I ordered 2 watches. The other watch will be getting a separate review, of course, and one came with a stamped clasp, but this one, the one they had sent me, came with a milled clasp. Now this is a bog standard, you know, your level 1 upgrade, for example. You know, it's nothing like the ones they get from the San Martin. However, it is milled, it is solid. It will definitely do the job and make the bracelet wear a lot better, and aesthetically a lot better as well. The end links are solid. You can just see here how they've been cut out, how they've been machined. You are going to have a sharp edge here, because that's not meant to be felt usually. Very good fit into the actual case, no gaps whatsoever, and the case facilitates bracelet changes all day, every day, due to those drilled lugs. So it's an absolute breeze to take it off and put on wherever you need. And the bracelet width, I don't think I mentioned that, the lug width is 20 millimeters across. The only bit of tapering you will see is on that first link after the end link, where it just flares out slightly from the edges. However, there is no further tapering. Not that it needs it, it's a chunky bracelet. And as you can see, the watch weighs quite well on this 6.5-inch wrist. The bracelet does look quite good as well. As mentioned, very smooth on the wrist. You don't feel any discomfort, any catching of your hair at all. It actually isn't too big, and that's probably because Seiko, for some reason, are the king of making big watches wear small. Right, now I think it's about time to summarize. I've completed the review. I think I've touched on everything. Yeah, what I will say about Proxima is I do really like what Proxima do, and I love quite a few of their watches. Not all, because I think with the range they've gone, I don't know where they've gone with it. It actually doesn't really add up. It's like they started here and then they've just drifted into just something which is becoming quite unrelatable. But this watch in particular, they do have, I'm taking it back to the Best Marine Master homage video and the tuner one. They do have quite a few variants just within the Marine Master style. They've got a full PVD one, they've got one PVD with gilt, they've got PVD with meteorite, they've got gilt with a meteorite dial, which by the way looks absolutely stunning because you get the gilt in the hour markers on that meteorite dial. Slightly more expensive but stunning. And then you also get the usual one, this the standard SBDX 001 from Proxima, which you also get a meteorite dial in that as well. So first of all, credit for bringing out the meteorite dials, just to give that step up in terms of quality and luxury from this brand. However, I think there's just so many variants. This Marine Master, there's just too many variants. I do want to see something different from Proxima now. They've made, literally, I can't even count them on one hand, to be honest. If you look into what you'll find on the WR watches, because there's some stuff on there which is not on AliExpress, and just here and there you'll find just so much. You also get some variants that use the 9015 movement, which is a shame they don't do it in this, but they only do it in the Marine Master that is on offer, the Marine Master homage that is on offer on WR watches, and the dial says actually HIMQ. So that doesn't make sense. I really did wish, I would have liked for them to put a high beat movement in this piece here. For me, that will just top it off. I know Heimdall do it. To my knowledge, they're not going to make any more ST2130 movement Marine Masters. So the first thing I would say is they just need to limit the amount of the same watch that they're making. They're just making too many variations of that, too many variations of the bezel insert. As mentioned, they need to have a core combination which is easy to decide and easy to choose and decide what you are actually buying. Other than that, I'd say I was very impressed with the watch, and I had it on for a couple of weeks. I haven't put it back in. In fact, I've just had it around on the shelf, so I can just pick it up and wear it whenever I feel like it. And it was something I've been looking forward to for quite a while. And I've actually treated myself this time, and I've bought this for myself. So this is going to be added to the collection alongside this piece as well. Regarding the press clasp issue, they did confirm that all the newer ones that will be coming out, all the bracelets, they will have the milled clasp. They're not going to use any stamped clasps anymore. However, you might still get some in, not directly from Proxima, but if you've got older stock that you're purchasing, maybe of a different watch, that there's a chance you will get one. But just you can confirm that with the seller. On my one, I actually managed to buy one of these extensions from an actual Seiko Marine Master. It was a lucky buy. It was on eBay, and I got it for around £25. And I really do like the clasp. It just adds that finishing touch to the homage. But what I would like is, I would like to know your thoughts and your inputs on this watch. What you like about it and what your dislikes are. You know, I do have a slight bit of bias, not because of any arrangement with the supplier, not at all, because personally I do like this watch, and I try to keep that out of it, but I do really like this watch. I'm saying it again and again, and it is one that I look forward to. But so help me think outside the box here, and let me know what your thoughts are and what you would change, or you know. Thank you everybody for watching and tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video.